Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. And today on Races of the Worlds, we are going to discuss the Chituari. This is one of 12 different reptilian races that I personally have dealt with. They are not an off-world race. The Chituari evolved here on Earth. Okay, but there's a lot of things that go with that. First and foremost, they are the only reptilian race that I'm personally aware of that actually has, very much like the human hand, four fingers and a thumb. Okay. Um, they do not have thick talons. They've got thick skin. Okay, let's face it, it's leather. And they've got a padding underneath the skin, the side of the epidural. That's the wrong word for it. The layer of flesh under the skin, I don't know what it's called, or at least I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, is thick enough that it actually reduces the damage of impact weaponry and of penetrating weaponry. Now, understand, they prefer melee weapons over firearms, or for that matter, over ranged. Because for them, a spear is about the longest range they've got. Because they work inside catacombs, how much range do you really need? Okay, they moved underground when mankind started to evolve faster, or more to the point, was more prolific in reproduction. Because Chituari only lay a clutch of eggs of 4 to 6 kids. They lay them in a nest. The individual parents are heterosexual, so the two parents do raise the kids. But it's kind of like a longhouse or like a barracks. Okay, where everybody sleeps in the same room. They have individual nests, they do have individual belongings, and they do have their individual likes and what have you, but they do not have a monetary system to speak of. Okay, theirs is done on a barter system. I desire something made. Okay, well, I'll make this for you. You go get that for me. Okay, it's a lot easier from their standpoint. So since they don't have a monetary system, they also do not have a banking system. But what they do have is a work system where everybody, right from the tiniest hatchling to the oldest adult, everybody pitches in until they're no longer capable. Now, this is where it gets a little screwy. Okay, they are a matriarch system. They do have a caste environment where certain people have different privileges, yes, but they don't have different laws that they abide by. A different system. Now, I call it a caste system, but I think that's the wrong term because somebody born from a lower caste can attain a higher position. Okay, it's kind of along the lines of with humans. You can be born with no money, but if you earn enough, if you work enough, you can raise your status in life. Okay, they can do the same thing, but they all follow the same laws. There is no adjustment. Okay, it doesn't matter what your income, what your status in life. They still follow the exact same laws. This is why they are at peace. See, the reality behind it is this: when you take a society, if you have more than one set of laws for more than one people, you will split the society. And if that split society does not have equal laws, it will fracture again. The Chituari have one set of laws for everybody. Doesn't matter if we're talking the queen or the matriarch, or if we're talking the lowest tunnel cleaner. And yeah, they do have all of those. Okay, so we are dealing with a society that, from human standpoint, is very much a socialist. It's basically a socialist society. Okay, they run 5.5, 6.5 feet tall as adults, but they start in eggs that are, well, that's wrong. Their eggs, when they come out, when they are developed, they're very soft, okay, very elongated, okay, and they look more like a large potato, okay, as far as size goes. Okay, now the other thing that they do have is their tongue is literally forked, and that's where their sense of taste, and that's how they figure out a lot of their tracking, much like many of the reptiles on Earth. Now, when they went to move underground, most of them went underground. Some moved into the water and evolved down a different path, and we will get to that race in another episode or in another rendition. I don't know what you want to call it. Still working on it. Now they are, much as they're omnivorous, they do develop or did develop their own set of culture, their own set of foods and what have you. Unlike most of the reptilian races, they have the Chituari have a snub nose. Their teeth are more designed for, realistically, more designed for, um, well, they're omnivorous, so they've got cutting teeth, they've got your molars. Okay, now their vegetation is primarily lichen, mushrooms, you know, ferns, that sort of thing. Okay, they've got their own spices and what have you. They are dominant they are dominant carnivores. Okay, they do eat meat. They also will eat carrion. Okay, in a pinch. They can handle it, they don't like it. But they are cannibals. As in, when one of their race dies, if it dies by natural means or by accident, it ends up on the dinner table. Okay, if it dies by disease, it is thrown into a vat, like it's thrown into a decom pit, and left there. There is no quote unquote burial, but it is well vented. Okay, you can picture what that's like, but I'll leave that to your imagination if it really matters to you. Okay, they are very much they're a very peace loving race, and they don't have a whole lot of interest in the outside world. They keep for the most part to themselves, which is why you don't see them a lot. They will communicate with humans on occasion. Okay, but only under peaceful situations. They do not, because they're not technologically advanced, really, at least not from Terran standpoints. They're certainly not interested in conquering the surface world, nor are they interested in getting involved in human politics. In their eyes, there is way too much conflict, way too much argument going on in human politics. Their society is unified. And because it's built strictly on the barter system, it's not a question of I've got, $50,000, I can buy more. It's a question of you desire a bed made? No problem, I'll do that, but you get to make me dinner. Okay. And there is no jealousy from that standpoint. There's certainly envy, as in, gee, I wish I could do that better. But they keep to themselves. On average, the average Chituari will live approximately 200 human years. Okay, so now they become qualified as an active adult member of society on their 13th cycle. Okay, prior to that, they are children, and they live as children do. In other words, they don't always follow the rules. Okay, sometimes they will sneak out of the house at night, out into the surface world. Usually that's either a young adult. You see very few actual senior Chituari outside. Okay, because they've evolved their entire society underground. And rest assured, there is a lot of underground. Okay, the nice part about it is from their standpoint, they they live their life separate from everybody else. They do not have a standing military per se, but as you can well imagine, since their claws, since their claws and toenails, fingernails and toenails, if you will, are designed for digging. Okay, these are not people that go to war. Now, of course, you corner them, and you're still dealing with a very formidable race. Okay, they do not have tails. They are simply bipedal. Okay, but they have learned to live underground. Okay, quite nicely. Now they spend a lot of their time haunched down, so their feet look a lot different than humans. Okay, because they spend most of their time walking on the balls of their feet. Okay, and because because they spend so much time bent down that way, they're quite comfortable in a hunched down position. Okay, if they have to run, they will do so on all fours. Okay, they can do so quite nicely on a bipedal standpoint. So if they're outside, they can run like the wind. Inside, because their tunnels usually are only 3 to 4 feet tall, and they happen to be 5.5 to 6.5, moving through the tunnels is quite often done down on all fours. And again, obviously, this eliminates the issue of dragging a whole lot of stuff with them. Their idea of weaponry for defensive or combative purposes is melee. Their longest range weapon is a spear. Okay, and rest assured, they are some accurate with that. Okay, they are all taught how to deal with, like, how to defend their clan. And there is no question of, oh, it's your house, so you defend it. There is no issue of, if you will, private property per se. It's all communal. There is private nest. That's your nest, and that stuff around your nest is yours. But understand, it's a very small ring. Okay, well, very small. I mean, you're looking at likely living inside, rough estimation, about a 10-foot square area, well, 10-foot circular area, where the bed is the centerpiece. Okay, they have a communal kitchen that everybody goes to. They make their own food, so it can get rather hectic on occasion. But where it comes to their senses, major big eyes, but their eyes are evolved for sight underground. Very limited light. Okay. The forked tongue is how they get their a lot of their input. Okay, and their communication system, although they do talk to each other in chirps and growls, a lot of their communication is done through pheromonal exodus. Okay, and exodus, pheromonal, you know, crossing. I have no idea what the word is there, but they do it by scent. Okay, and that's where the tongue comes in extremely quickly. You can talk to them in normal patterns. Okay, and some of them have learned to speak Terran languages. Okay, a lot of the Terran languages have to be older languages because, well, when humans began to fight amongst themselves a lot more, like even more so than they did in the clans, the Chituari disappeared underground and quit communicating. They just went, we don't need all this stress, so they stopped. Okay. Now, the nice part about the whole setup is they don't fight for power. They know where they're standing, and they're raised from a very young age. Yes, you can attain a higher status in life. Get better at your craft, whether that is hunting, whether that is carving, whether it is building things. Doesn't matter. Get better because they revere the artwork. They revere craftsmanship more than anything else. They do have a religious belief structure. Okay, they believe in a singular higher entity that they refer to as the Great Drake. Okay, but everybody pitches in. Okay, there is more information. We're putting it together as we go about it. Oh, by the way, very important factor. If you think humans have a lot of different colors, you should try the Chituari. Okay, their racial coloring is not indicative to one location on the planet. It is indicative to each individual. So you get a lot of very colorful people. Okay, it looks like a tattoo artist gone mad sometimes. But they are very colorful, very gregarious people, but they are dead silent when they have to be. Which means you could walk by them in the dark and never see them. Okay, because they don't have to communicate. You wouldn't hear them either, because they don't have to communicate in a spoken language. It adds a whole new definition of of communication when you say stick your tongue out. When these guys stick their tongue out, they can communicate enormous amounts of information in an extremely short period of time. Okay, and no, humans, quite frankly, are pretty ill equipped to deal with that. Now, there is more information. I've got a lot more on file. I'm compiling it as I go along. Okay, but that being said, I'm going to leave it at this. Okay, I do hope to get a thumbs up out of you. Okay, please subscribe to my channel and get the rest of the videos. I've got a number of videos, a number of different video types that I'm doing. Okay, and absolutely subscribe to them. At the bottom of this video, you'll find a whole list of ways of getting a hold of me. So if you've got questions, absolutely drop me a line. If there's a race that you're looking for, I may not know it by the same name you do. So if you've got information that you're trying to pin down, something you've seen, drop me a line, and I'll be happy to get back to you on it as best I can. Or if there's enough of you asking the same question, I will put another video out for it. The first Friday of every month. For the last 6 years now, I have been on Spaced Out Radio on the internet. Okay, on the first Friday from 9 p.m. until 11:30 p.m. Okay, discussing the races of the world. It's called the ET Connection. Okay, and I'll be happy to see you there. Look forward to seeing you in the chat rooms. For the time being, however, I'm going to leave it at this. Until we talk again, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.